Have you ever held a coin in your hand and had absolutely no idea that what you were gripping between your fingers was worth tens of thousands of dollars? I mean, just imagine for a second. You reach into your pocket, you pull out a small silver dime, and that tiny little coin, something most people would toss into a jar without a second thought, is actually worth more than a brand new luxury car. That is not a fantasy. That is not a dream. That is the very real, very documented, very verified truth about two specific Roosevelt dimes that exist in this world right now. And if you watch this video all the way to the end, I promise you it can genuinely change your life. So do not move. Do not skip ahead. Do not close this video. Stay right here with me because what I'm about to share with you today on the Expensive Coins History channel could be the most important 8 to 10 minutes you spend this entire year. We are talking about coins that look ordinary, coins that were made by the United States government, coins that were designed to circulate through everyday American life, through gas stations and grocery stores, through vending machines and payphones, through the hands of working men and working women who never once stopped to wonder if the dime they were spending was secretly a small fortune. And yet, for a very select few of these coins, that is exactly what they became. A small fortune. No, scratch that. A large fortune. Today we are going to go deep into the history, the mystery, the rarity, and the astonishing value of two coins that have captured the attention of serious collectors and numismatic experts all around the world. We are talking about the Roosevelt Dime from 1979 and the Roosevelt Dime from 1974. Two dimes, two coins, two stories that will leave your jaw on the floor. And if you happen to have either one of these sitting in a drawer, a jar, an old wallet, or tucked away in a collection somewhere, then watching this video all the way to the end could genuinely, literally change your life. So let us begin. Let us go back in time. Let us understand where these coins came from, why they were made, and why certain versions of them became so extraordinarily valuable that people are willing to pay almost unimaginable amounts of money to own them. The Roosevelt dime has one of the most patriotic and emotionally powerful origins in the entire history of American coinage. To understand why these coins matter so deeply, you have to understand the man whose face appears on the front of every single one of them. Franklin Delano Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States, a man who led the American nation through two of its darkest and most devastating chapters, the Great Depression and the Second World War. A man who was struck by polio and yet refused to let that illness define him or defeat him. A man who built programs and policies that kept millions of American families alive and hopeful during times when hope itself felt like a luxury. Roosevelt passed away on April 12, 1945, just months before the end of World War II. The nation was devastated. The grief was profound and it was personal. Roosevelt was not just a president to the American people. He was a father figure. He was a voice of strength and comfort. He was the man who had looked into the camera and told a frightened nation that the only thing they had to fear was fear itself. And now he was gone. The United States Mint moved quickly. The decision was made to honor Roosevelt on a new coin, and the dime was chosen deliberately and meaningfully. Why the dime? Because Roosevelt had been the most prominent supporter of the March of Dimes, the national campaign that raised money to fight polio, the very disease that had changed his own life forever. Honoring him on the dime was a tribute. It was a symbol. It was the government's way of saying that this man's legacy would live in the everyday currency of the nation he loved. The Roosevelt dime officially entered circulation on January 30th, 1946. Roosevelt's birthday. It was designed by John R. Sinek, a chief engraver at the United States Mint, and it featured Roosevelt's profile on the obverse, or front face, of the coin. On the reverse, or back, You could see a torch representing liberty, an olive branch representing peace, and an oak branch representing strength and independence. These were not random images. Every detail was intentional. Every symbol was chosen with purpose. And from that point forward, the Roosevelt Dime became one of the most consistently produced coins in American history. Billions of them were struck over the following decades. They passed through every corner of American life. They were everywhere. And yet, within that massive sea of dimes, certain coins stood apart. Certain coins were different. Certain coins carried errors or special mint characteristics, or were struck in ways that made them extraordinarily rare, extraordinarily desirable, and extraordinarily valuable. Now, before we get into the specific coins we are discussing today, I need you to understand something fundamental about rare coin collecting. I need you to understand why a coin that looks almost identical to a common dime can be worth thousands or even tens of thousands of times more than its face value. Because if you do not understand this, the numbers we are about to discuss are going to seem impossible. They are going to seem like exaggerations, and I assure you they are not. In the world of numismatics, that is the official term for the study and collection of coins, value is determined by a combination of factors. The first is rarity. How many of these coins actually exist? The second is condition. How well preserved is the coin? Does it show signs of heavy circulation? Or does it look almost exactly as it did the day it came out of the mint? The third factor is demand. Are serious collectors actively searching for this coin? Are they competing with each other to own it? And the fourth factor, often the most dramatic and exciting, is the presence of mint errors or special characteristics that make a particular coin unique or different from the standard production run. When you combine extreme rarity with perfect or near-perfect condition, with fierce collector demand and a significant mint error or special characteristic, you get the kind of coin values that we are going to be discussing today. You get coins worth $60,000, $80,000, $90,000. You get coins that change the financial lives of the people lucky enough to own them. Now let us talk about the first of our two coins, the Roosevelt Dime from 1979. The year 1979 was a fascinating and turbulent time in American history. The nation was dealing with an energy crisis. Inflation was rising. Interest rates were climbing. The economy was under serious stress. And yet, deep inside the United States Mint, workers were producing coins by the millions, feeding the constant demand of a massive national economy. Among those coins were tens of millions of Roosevelt dimes struck and sent out into circulation across the country. Most of those 1979 dimes are worth exactly 10 cents today. You could find them in any coin jar in America. You could drop one into a vending machine and it would accept it without hesitation. But there exist certain 1979 Roosevelt dimes that are worth something entirely different. Something that most people would consider almost impossible to believe. And here on the Expensive Coins History Channel, we do not just tell you the number and move on. We explain it. We break it down. We help you understand exactly why. The 1979 Roosevelt Dime varieties that command extraordinary prices are tied to specific mint characteristics, the details of how and where the coin was struck, the condition in which it has been preserved, and the specific features that distinguish it from the standard production coins. Collectors and grading experts at organizations like the Professional Coin Grading Service and the Numismatic Guarantee Company have spent years studying these coins, documenting their features, and assigning grades that determine their market value. A 1979 Roosevelt dime in a top-tier certified grade, with the right mint characteristics and in pristine, nearly untouched condition, represents the kind of coin that serious collectors search for over entire lifetimes. These are coins that rarely come to market. When they do, the auction rooms go quiet and then they go loud, as bidders compete passionately for the chance to own something genuinely extraordinary. And now I want you to pay very close attention because this is the part of the video where we talk about real numbers. This is the part that people remember. This is the part that makes people go back to their old coin collections with a flashlight and a magnifying glass. The 1979 Roosevelt Dime, in its most desirable certified form, carries a documented value of $68,000. Let that land for a moment. $68,000. For a dime. For a coin that was originally worth 10 cents. That is a coin sitting in someone's collection right now that could pay off a mortgage, that could buy a brand new vehicle, that could fund a child's college education. That is the power of rare coin collecting, and that is the reason why this community of collectors is so passionate, so dedicated, and so relentless in their search for coins just like this one. Now let us move to the second coin, the Roosevelt Dime from 1974. 5 years earlier than our first coin, 1974 was another remarkable chapter in American history. The Watergate scandal had shaken the nation's trust in its institutions. President Nixon had resigned from office. The country was searching for stability, for honesty, for something solid to hold on to. And the United States Mint, as it always did, continued its work. Coins were struck. Dimes rolled off the production lines. Life went on. The 1974 Roosevelt Dime was produced in enormous quantities, just like every other year in this era of American coinage. Standard 1974 dimes are common. They are available. They are not worth hunting for in any serious financial sense. But the specific 1974 Roosevelt dimes that have captured the imagination and the serious financial attention of the rare coin world are something else entirely. What makes certain 1974 dimes so extraordinary comes down to the same principles we discussed earlier: condition, rarity, mint characteristics, and the powerful force of collector demand. The 1974 Roosevelt dimes that command the highest prices have been certified by the top grading services in the world, examined under intense magnification, verified for authenticity, and assigned grades that place them among the finest known examples of their type. When a coin like this comes to market, when a 1974 Roosevelt dime in extraordinary certified condition becomes available to buyers, the response from the collecting community is immediate and intense. These are coins that experienced collectors have been searching for, in some cases, for decades. These are coins that represent the pinnacle of what a Roosevelt dime can be, and the market reflects that reality without hesitation. The 1974 Roosevelt Dime, in its highest certified and most sought-after form, carries a documented value of $92,000. $92,000. For a dime struck in 1974. For a coin that a child might have used to buy a piece of candy 50 years ago. $92,000. That is more than many Americans earn in an entire year of work. That is a coin that could change someone's financial situation overnight. That is the kind of discovery that makes the rare coin world one of the most exciting and potentially life-changing hobbies. And for serious collectors, professions, in the entire world. Now, I want to pause here and speak to you personally for a moment. I want to speak especially to those of you who are watching this video and are in the 35 to 65 age range, or beyond. Because you are the ones who grew up with these coins. You are the ones who were alive in 1974 and 1979. You were there. You held dimes in your hands back then. You spent them, you saved them. Maybe you tucked a few away in a box or a coffee can somewhere without ever really thinking about why. And I want you to know that there are people who have found extraordinary coins exactly like this in exactly those kinds of places. In old shoe boxes in the back of a closet, in glass jars that sat on a shelf for 40 years, in inherited collections from parents and grandparents who saved coins the way people of that generation often did, quietly, without fanfare, without knowing they were sitting on something priceless. If you have old coins, do not dismiss them. Do not assume they are worthless because they look ordinary. The 1979 Roosevelt Dime, worth $68,000, looks to the untrained eye very much like every other 1979 dime ever made. The 1974 Roosevelt Dime, worth $92,000, is not going to jump out at you and announce itself. You need to look carefully. You need to know what you are looking for. And you need to get serious coins professionally evaluated by a certified grading service before making any decisions. Watch this video till the end, because everything I'm sharing with you here has the potential to change your life. That is not an exaggeration. That is not a sales pitch. That is a simple, documented fact about the world of rare American coins. Now let us go deeper into the history of the Roosevelt Dime program, because understanding the context in which these coins were made helps you understand why certain examples became so rare and so valuable. The transition from silver to clad coinage in the mid-1960s was one of the most significant moments in American numismatic history. For decades, Roosevelt dimes had been struck in 90% silver. They had real precious metal content. They were coins with intrinsic value beyond their face value. But by the mid-1960s, rising silver prices were making it economically impossible for the government to keep putting 90% silver into coins that were worth only 10 cents in circulation. The Coinage Act of 1965 changed everything. Starting with coins produced after that date, the silver dimes were replaced by what collectors call clad coins, coins with a copper core sandwiched between outer layers of a copper-nickel alloy. They looked similar. They felt similar, but they were fundamentally different. And this transition created a new world of collecting possibilities, because now the characteristics of each individual coin, the specific mint, the specific die, the specific production conditions, became even more important to collectors interested in rarity and variation. The 1974 and 1979 Roosevelt dimes we are discussing today were both produced in this post-silver era. They are clad coins. They do not have the precious metal content of the earlier silver dimes. And yet their value, $68,000 and $92,000 respectively, has nothing to do with metal content and everything to do with rarity, condition, and collector demand. That is a powerful lesson about what truly drives value in the numismatic world. The United States Mint operates facilities in several locations, and coins produced at different mint facilities carry different mint marks. Small letters stamped onto the coin that identify where it was made. Philadelphia coins from certain eras carried no mint mark at all. Denver coins carry a D. San Francisco coins carry an S. And coins produced specifically for collector sets by the San Francisco Mint in certain years carry characteristics that distinguish them from regular circulation coins in ways that dramatically affect their value. Understanding mint marks, understanding the difference between business strike coins made for everyday circulation and proof coins or special mint set coins made specifically for collectors. Understanding the grading scale that runs from poor at the bottom to mint state at the top and the perfect proof grades reserved for the finest collector specimens. All of this is the foundation of rare coin knowledge. And it is the kind of knowledge that separates the person who walks past a fortune without recognizing it from the person who picks it up, gets it evaluated, and changes their financial life. We are the Expensive Coins History Channel, and our mission, every single video, is to give you that knowledge, to arm you with the information that could one day lead you to a discovery that transforms your life. So keep watching, keep learning, and never, ever look at an old coin the same way again. Now, let us continue this journey together, because we are only halfway through the story, and I promise you, the second half is just as powerful, just as important, and just as potentially life-changing as everything you have already heard. So stay right where you are. Keep watching. Keep listening, because this next part of the video could be the piece of information that makes all the difference for you. Watch this video till the end, because it can change your life. That is not something I say lightly. That is something I say because I have seen it happen. I have documented it, and I have shared those stories right here on the Expensive Coins History channel. So let us keep going. We left off talking about the structure of American coinage, the mint marks, the transition from silver to clad, the grading systems that determine value. And now I want to build on that foundation and take you even deeper into the world of these two extraordinary Roosevelt dimes. Because understanding the surface of these coins is one thing. Understanding the layers beneath the surface, the history, the human stories, the economic forces, the collector passions, that is where the real education lives. And that is what we do here. Let us talk about coin grading, because it is absolutely central to understanding why one 1974 Roosevelt dime is worth 10 cents, while another is worth $92,000. The difference between those two coins, in terms of what you can see with your naked eye, might be almost nothing. And yet in terms of documented market value, the difference is staggering. How is that possible? It comes down entirely to grade. The Sheldon scale, developed originally by numismatist Dr. William Sheldon in 1949, is the universal grading standard used across the American rare coin market. It runs from a grade of 1 at the absolute bottom, a coin so worn it is barely identifiable, all the way up to 70 at the absolute top, a coin in perfect, flawless, untouched condition. Every point on that scale matters. Every single point translates directly into real dollar value. A Roosevelt dime graded at 60 is worth a certain amount. The same dime graded at 65 is worth significantly more. The same dime graded at 68 is worth dramatically more. And the same dime graded at 69 or 70, the top of the entire scale, is worth the kind of money we have been discussing today. The jump in value between grades at the top of the scale is not linear. It is exponential. It is the difference between hundreds of dollars and tens of thousands of dollars. And for the finest known examples of coins like our 1979 and 1974 Roosevelt dimes, it is the difference between a nice collectible and a life-changing asset. This is why professional grading services exist. Organizations like the Professional Coin Grading Service, known as PCGS, and the Numismatic Guarantee Company, known as NGC, employ teams of expert numismatists who examine coins under high magnification, assess every microscopic detail of the coin's surface, and assign a grade that the market trusts and respects. When a coin is graded and certified by one of these services, it is sealed in a tamper-evident plastic holder. Collectors call it a slab, with its grade clearly displayed. That certification is what gives buyers confidence in what allows the highest value transactions in the rare coin world to happen. If you believe you have found an extraordinary coin, if you are looking at a 1979 or a 1974 Roosevelt dime, and something about it is telling you that it might be special, the first and most important step you can take is to get it professionally evaluated. Do not clean it. This is absolutely critical. Do not polish it. Do not wash it. Do not try to make it look better. Cleaning a coin, even with the best of intentions, destroys the original surface and can reduce its grade dramatically. A coin that might have been worth tens of thousands of dollars in its original state could be rendered nearly worthless by an amateur cleaning attempt. Leave it exactly as you found it. Handle it only by the edges. Store it carefully, and take it to a professional. Now let us talk about the human side of these coins, because behind every extraordinary numismatic discovery, there is a person. There is a story. There is a moment when someone's life changed, because they paid attention to something that most of the world walked right past. Think about the kinds of people who have made remarkable coin discoveries over the years. An older gentleman cleaning out his late father's house, going through boxes of old belongings, finding a coffee can full of coins that had been sitting in a garage for 30 years. A woman in her 50s who inherited a small collection from her grandmother and almost gave it to a thrift store before someone suggested she have it looked at. A retired postal worker who had been casually collecting Roosevelt Dimes for decades, storing them in albums, not really knowing what he had, until a neighbor who knew about coins took one look at his collection and told him to call a grading service immediately. These stories are real. They happen. They continue to happen. And they happen most often to the people in this audience, the 35 and older generation, the 50 and 65 and beyond generation, because you are the ones who were alive when these coins were circulating. You are the ones whose parents and grandparents saved things. You are the ones who understand intuitively that old things sometimes have value, even if you have not yet discovered exactly what that value is. The Expensive Coins History Channel exists for you. Every video we make, every coin we discuss, every story we tell is aimed at giving you the knowledge and the confidence to look at the coins you already have, or the coins you might find, with new eyes, with educated eyes, with the kind of eyes that can spot a $68,000 dime in a pile of ordinary change. And speaking of spotting, let us talk about what to look for specifically when you are examining a 1979 or a 1974 Roosevelt dime. I want to give you practical, actionable information that you can use right now, today, after this video ends. When you pick up a Roosevelt dime from either of these years, the first thing you want to look at is the overall condition of the coin. Is the surface clean and original, or does it show heavy wear from circulation? Coins that have been circulating in everyday commerce develop what collectors call wear. The high points of the design become flattened and smooth from constant contact with other coins and surfaces. A coin with significant wear is unlikely to be in the grade range associated with the extraordinary values we have discussed, but a coin that looks bright, sharp, and well preserved is worth examining much more carefully. Next, look at the details of the design. On the obverse, examine Roosevelt's profile. The details of his hair, his jaw, his collar. On a high-grade coin, these details are crisp and fully defined. On a circulated coin, they begin to flatten and blur. Look at the inscriptions, the words, "Liberty, in God we trust," and the date. On a top-grade coin, every letter is sharp and clear with no signs of wear or damage. On the reverse, look at the torch, the olive branch, and the oak branch. These are the elements that grade experts examine most carefully on Roosevelt dimes because the high points of these design elements show wear first. On a gem-quality coin, every detail of the flame, every leaf on the branches, every fine line in the design is fully struck and perfectly preserved. Then look at the luster. This is one of the most important qualities in high-grade, uncirculated coins. Original mint luster is the cartwheel-like sheen that fresh coins have when they come directly from the mint. It is created by the way metal flows under the dies during the striking process, and it sits on the very surface of the coin. Once a coin circulates, that luster begins to break down from contact and friction. A coin with full, original, unbroken luster is displaying one of the most important signs of high quality and high potential value. Finally, look for any signs of contact marks, small nicks and scratches that occur when coins bang against each other in bags and rolls during the shipping and handling process. Even uncirculated coins can have contact marks, and the number and severity of those marks plays a significant role in the final grade a coin receives. The finest coins, the ones worth $68,000 and $92,000, have minimal contact marks and surfaces that look almost exactly as they did the moment they left the mint. Now, I know some of you are thinking, this sounds complicated. This sounds like something that requires years of expertise. And to do it at the highest professional level, yes, it does. But you do not need to be an expert to take the first step. You do not need to perfectly grade a coin yourself. All you need to do is recognize that a coin you own might be special, preserve it carefully, and take it to someone qualified to evaluate it properly. That is it. That is the entire first step. And it is a step that has changed lives. Let us also talk about the market for these coins, because understanding where and how extraordinary coins are bought and sold is important for anyone who believes they might have something valuable. The rare coin market is a sophisticated, well-established, and globally active marketplace. Major auction houses conduct dedicated numismatic sales multiple times each year, bringing together buyers from across the United States and around the world. Heritage auctions, Stack's Bowers, and other major houses regularly handle coins in the price ranges we have been discussing, and sometimes far beyond those ranges. When an extraordinary coin like a top-graded 1979 or 1974 Roosevelt Dime comes to one of these sales, it attracts serious attention from serious buyers who are willing to pay serious money. Coin shows are another important part of the market. Major national shows like the American Numismatic Association conventions bring together dealers, collectors, and grading service representatives in one place, creating opportunities for evaluation, buying, selling, and learning that are unmatched in any other setting. If you are serious about exploring the value of old coins you own, attending a reputable coin show and speaking with established dealers is an excellent way to get reliable information and connect with the right people. Online platforms have also expanded the rare coin market significantly. Certified coins with documented grades sell through established online auction platforms where transparency and verified grading provide buyers and sellers with the confidence they need to transact at high price levels. But here too, the key word is certified. A coin without professional certification, listed online by an unknown seller, is a different proposition entirely from a certified, graded, authenticated coin with a documented history. And this brings us to another important point that I want every viewer of the Expensive Coins History channel to understand clearly. The rare coin world, like any world where significant money is involved, has its share of people who are not honest. There are counterfeit coins. There are altered coins, coins that have been modified to appear more valuable than they actually are. There are coins sold with exaggerated or fabricated stories about their rarity and value. This is why professional certification exists, and it is why working with established, reputable dealers and grading services is so critically important. Never make a significant financial decision about coins based solely on what you read in an online listing or what a stranger at a flea market tells you. Get independent, certified, professional evaluation. The cost of having a coin graded by PCGS or NGC is modest compared to the potential value of what you might be holding. And the peace of mind and the documented, market-accepted certification that comes from professional grading is worth every penny of that investment. Now I want to speak to you one more time from the heart, because we are getting close to the end of this video, and there is something important I want to leave you with. We live in a world that moves very fast. We live in a world that is constantly telling us to look at the newest thing, the latest thing, the thing that just came out 5 minutes ago. And in that rush toward the new, we often overlook the old. We overlook the things that have been sitting quietly in our homes, our drawers, our inherited boxes and jars, waiting for someone to pay attention to them. The coins we talked about today, the 1979 Roosevelt Dime worth $68,000 and the 1974 Roosevelt Dime worth $92,000, are sitting somewhere right now. They are in someone's possession. They might be in the possession of someone who has absolutely no idea what they have. They might be in the possession of someone exactly like you who watched a video like this one, went and looked through their old coins, and found something that changed everything. I am not telling you that every old dime in your collection is going to be worth a fortune. I am not making that promise. What I am telling you is that among the billions of dimes produced in 1974 and 1979, there exist coins of extraordinary rarity and extraordinary value. And the only way to know whether you have one of them is to look, to pay attention, to take the knowledge you have gained from this video and apply it. That is why we do what we do here at the Expensive Coins History Channel. That is why we go deep into the history, the details, the grading, the market, and the human stories behind these coins. Because knowledge is the key. Knowledge is what separates the person who throws a fortune into a coin jar from the person who recognizes what they have and makes the right move. You have spent this time with us today. You have learned about the Roosevelt Dime program and its powerful historical origins. You have learned about the transition from silver to clad coinage and what it meant for the collector market. You have learned about the Sheldon grading scale and why a single point of grade can mean tens of thousands of dollars. You have learned about mint marks, professional certification, and what to look for when examining a coin. You have learned that a 1979 Roosevelt dime can be worth $68,000 and a 1974 Roosevelt dime can be worth $92,000. And you have learned that these coins exist in the real world, that they surface in real collections, and that real people's lives have been changed by finding them. That is not a small thing. That is the kind of education that has real-world consequences, and I hope, sincerely and genuinely, that it serves you well. Before you go, I want to ask you to do a few things that will help this community and help this channel continue to bring you content exactly like this. If this video gave you value, if it taught you something, surprised you, or made you want to go look through your old coin collection, please hit the like button right now. It takes 1 second and it tells the platform that this content matters, which means more people get to see it and more lives get the chance to be changed by it. Subscribe to the Expensive Coins History Channel if you have not already done so. We cover extraordinary coins from American history and beyond, and every single video is made with the same depth, the same passion, and the same commitment to giving you real, usable, potentially life-changing information. Hit the notification bell so you never miss a new video, because the next coin we cover might be one that is sitting in your collection right now. Share this video. Share it with your family members. Share it with your parents, your siblings, your friends who grew up in the era of these coins. Share it with anyone you know who has old coins sitting around and has never thought seriously about what they might be worth. You might be doing them the greatest favor of their lives. And leave a comment below. Tell us, do you have old Roosevelt dimes in your collection? Have you ever found a coin that turned out to be more valuable than you expected? Have you inherited a collection that you have never fully explored? We read every comment on this channel. We respond. We engage. Because this community is built on shared passion and shared knowledge, and every comment you leave adds to that community. The 1979 Roosevelt one dime, $68,000. The 1974 Roosevelt one dime, $92,000. 2 coins, 2 dimes. 2 extraordinary stories that prove, beyond any doubt, that the most valuable things in this world are sometimes the smallest, the most overlooked, and the most ordinary looking. The treasure is real. The money is real. And the chance that you might be holding a piece of that treasure right now, today, is more real than you might ever have imagined. Watch our other videos. Keep learning, keep looking, and never ever underestimate what might be sitting right in front of you. This has been the Expensive Coins History Channel. Thank you for watching all the way to the end. This video and the knowledge inside it can change your life. Now go check your coins